Have you ever been on a flight and felt like something was just off? Maybe it was a strange noise, a weird feeling, or maybe it was the person sitting next to you.
Right?
We're diving into 3 stories from flight attendants, air traffic controllers, and passengers that will make you think twice the next time you board a plane. These are stories about unsettling encounters at 30,000 feet and in the quiet corners of airports, where the ordinary rules of reality seem to bend. Let's start with a young flight attendant who was just beginning her career. When I first joined a regional airline operating out of San Diego, everything felt like a fresh start. I was new, excited, and proud to finally be working as a flight attendant. Our routes were short California, up through the Pacific Northwest, and the work felt manageable. Early departures, steady routines, quiet nights in my Mission Valley apartment. Life felt balanced. About a month in, something small but strange began to happen. On a routine morning flight, I noticed a man seated several rows back. He wasn't loud or rude. In fact, he barely spoke at all. A few days later, I saw him again. Then again. Same routes, same flights, same quiet smile. At first, I dismissed it. Frequent flyers exist everywhere. But after nearly 2 weeks of seeing him on only the flights I worked, unease crept in. He watched me, not openly staring, but always aware of where I was. When I looked his way, he smiled calmly, like we shared a private understanding. The moment that changed everything came mid-flight to Seattle. As I passed through the cabin, I glanced up and saw his phone raised. The lens was aimed directly at me. When our eyes met, he lowered it without panic, without apology, and smiled. That smile stayed with me. A few days later, during a Portland layover, I stepped out of my hotel to grab dinner. Across the street, under a streetlight, stood the same man, waiting, not walking, not distracted, just standing. I tried convincing myself it was coincidence, until he walked into the cafe behind me and sat where he could see me clearly. He didn't approach, didn't speak, he just watched. From that night on, fear became part of my routine. Weeks later, after a short break from seeing him, he appeared again, this time seated directly beside the galley. He didn't hide his attention anymore. When the flight ended and passengers exited, he lingered behind. As he passed, he leaned close and whispered, "Have a good night. I'll see you soon." The next morning, I reported everything. Security listened. Police documented it. But without direct threats, there was little they could do. My schedule changed. I moved apartments. I tried to disappear. Then one evening, I found a note slipped under my door. "You shouldn't have told anyone. I moved again. Changed everything." Hey, he never returned. But sometimes, even now, I feel watched, like someone is simply waiting for the right seat on the right flight. Our next story takes us from the crowded cabin of an airplane to the lonely solitude of an air traffic control tower. It's a story about a place where the only thing you should see on the runway is an airplane. But one night, something else was there. My uncle never enjoyed telling stories. So when he said there was one memory that never loosened its grip, I believed him. In the late 1970s, fresh out of training, he became an air traffic controller and was assigned to a tiny airport near Atlantic, Iowa. One short runway. Endless farmland. Quiet nights that stretched for hours, till one winter night, when a small aircraft requested an emergency landing. As he guided the plane down, something impossible caught his eye. A woman stood on the runway. She wore a thin dress. No coat, no shoes. Snow dusted the ground. Yet she stood barefoot, unmoving. When the pilot approached her, she leaned close and whispered something unheard. Seconds later, the pilot ran. The woman turned toward the control tower and began to sprint. What followed was destruction equipment torn apart. Doors slammed, footsteps pounding through the tower. My uncle hid until morning. She returned, again and again. Always barefoot, always silent, always staring without blinking. Once, she whispered directly into his ear, "Come down to the field." Another night, she climbed the exterior ladder, bare feet ringing against metal. When she entered the control room, she bled but didn't slow. She stepped through the open window and vanished into darkness. No body was ever found, no footprints leading away, only stains that never fully disappeared beneath fresh paint. My uncle transferred soon after, but to this day, winter nights still make him listen for the sound of bare feet on steel. This final story is a reminder that sometimes the most unsettling presence is the one that shouldn't be there at all. It's about a passenger who felt something next to her in a seat that was supposed to be empty. At 69, flying was no longer comfortable, but family mattered more than fear. I boarded a late-night flight to Miami, grateful for pre-boarding and relieved to find the window seat beside me empty. Then a man sat there. He didn't speak, didn't move. His coat looked damp. His gloves swallowed the cabin light. The flight attendants seemed confused when they looked at him, but said nothing. At one point, I left for the restroom. When I looked back, the seat was empty. When I returned, he was there again. After landing, the crew asked me if anyone had been seated beside me. The manifest showed the seat had been vacant the entire flight. Later, I checked my phone. I had taken a photo during boarding. The seat beside me was empty, but I still remembered the weight of his coat against my arm. And sometimes, when the house is quiet at night, I wonder if some passengers travel without tickets slipping through counts and cameras, needing only a place to sit and someone warm beside them. From stalkers, who follow you across state lines, to figures who appear where no one should be, the world of air travel has its share of shadows. These stories remind us that even in a place as controlled and structured as an airport or an airplane, the unexplained can find a way to slip through. So next time you fly, take a look around. You never know who or what might be traveling with you. Thanks for watching. If you have a strange travel story of your own, share it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. Stay safe out there.